Okay, this week we're going to show you a few tips on transducer mounting and some things that might come in handy to get yourself a better picture, especially when you're running at speed and you want to keep an eye on the bottom for any of the little pinnacles or bits and pieces you might miss out in the middle of nowhere. So firstly, what I suggest you should do, no matter whether you've got a plate boat or a pressed aluminium boat, is go and get one of these brackets welded onto your actual hull, and then you mount the transducer to that piece of metal there, so you're not actually screwing into your boat. So just go and get a big U-plate welded on, and then you can screw the transducer to the actual plate itself. And there's a smaller one I had previously for a smaller transducer. It's pretty simple, just take it into your local Boilermaker and they'll knock it up for you. And so that's one tip. The other one is also, many hulls have different shaped transoms, different angles. For instance, vessels that have a very severe angle on their transom, quite often they read very well because the actual transducer is mounted facing forward slightly, which means as it's going along it's actually shooting the sonar out front a little bit and it's catching up to it at the right time at speed. Whereas in some situations when you've got more of a flatter angled transom like this one, and it's a pretty shallow angle, this one, it's about 5 degrees. What happens is, if it's mounted directly even with your hull, at the same angle as your hull, quite often by the time it shoots the signal down, the boat's actually gone past the area of where it's receiving it the best. It's actually coming up behind you. So, quite often, the manufacturers will bring these out with chocks. As you can see, I've put a chock on this one here. The small end of the chock, I've put it down, and that's going to drop the transducer down a little bit. So it's just going to face just slightly downwards as of the parallel area to the boat, and that's just going to push that ultrasonic sound further forward slightly and catch up to it when it returns at the right time. So always use your chocks. If you're not getting a good picture at speed, play with the chocks. Just slightly tilt your angle down on your transducer and then see how it goes. Also, when mounting your transducer, keep it around about 3 to 4 millimeters below the level of your bottom of your boat. So stick a straight line, straight edge under there, and make sure that your transducer is around about 4 millimeters below the bottom of the boat. And with this one you can tell it's slightly facing forward, because if I bring the straight edge over underneath it here and touch the back of the transducer, I can see a gap at the front here and a gap there. That's indicating that that transducer is now facing slightly forward of level. So play with your transducers, get it right, and you'll get a good picture and you'll get some good fishing spots. Now, for those of you that are going to ask, yeah, that's one big sucker of a transducer. Probably weighs more than the boat. But it's a 1 kilowatt transom mount. I mainly use it to get better definition travelling at speed, especially when we go out looking for wonky holes around the inshore isle, just on the offshore islands and those sort of places. So yeah, definitely a 1 kilowatt's the way to go. If your sound is capable of using the 1 kilowatt, which most are these days, go the 1 kilowatt transducers. So if you like this little tip, please click like and share it with your mates.